week for Vinyasa, we'll have a chat about the idea of whether it's good or whether it's bad, it is certain to change soon. And I like the idea of that for a couple of reasons. One is if you're in a really tough situation, i.e. a hard yoga pose, for example, and you're hating on me or you're hating on your body or you're just, uncomfortable, I guess. There's this reassurance in the idea that that's going to end soon. You're not going to be holding chair pose forever. So instead of being annoyed that you're in that position now, there's that idea that we will move on from that. In the opposite way, when we're laying in Shavasana and we're really enjoying that, it's when we know that it's going to end, we can find some gratefulness for that space. So we're laying there instead of going, oh, it's going to end soon, I'm not going to enjoy it, and we're spending too much time thinking about that. We don't sit back and enjoy that time that we have. So if we know that things are going to change and end, we have a little bit of better perspective about it, I guess. Good morning, Yaswa, come on in. So thinking about that in all the good and all the bad, I would argue there's no bad stuff in yoga, but in some of the maybe the tougher parts of the session, if you're finding that, it is feeling hard for you, then you can be like, that's okay, I can settle in this moment. We're usually only in them for a few breaths before we move on. And then in Shavasana, really enjoy that rest that you get at the end. We're going to start sitting today. So when you're in Sukhasana pose, easy pose, if you would like a block or something under your bum, you could always do that. If you're at home, you can have a pillow or something. And then any version of cross-legged. So I've been liking the ankles separated, if that feels like an option to you. Another one, if you'd like a more decent stretch, is actually a fire log pose, where you stack one on top of the other and you get a deeper stretch through the legs. But we won't be here for too long, but find that even weighting through your seat bones. Allow your arms to rest on your legs, palms up, palms down, or you might like to hold a mudra to the heart space. And if you're in the studio this morning, you'll hear that lovely rain that we're getting down on the roof at the moment. So you can tune into that sound if it allows you to feel more relaxed. Then we'll take a nice deep breath in. Long, slow, relax out as you allow your entire body to sink down into the mat. Just letting go of any of that tension that might be in your shoulders, your hips, even your jaw. We'll take a few more deep breaths in. Inhaling to expand the heart space. Exhaling to remove or let go of any of the things that would stop you from practicing. And at least one more deep breath in. Long breath out. Before coming back into a more natural breathing rhythm. Just allowing the air to come and go. Without trying to force it or make it be anything different. You might tune into your chest rising and falling. Maybe the movement of the air in and out of your nose or mouth. And then we ask ourselves, where is my mind this morning? What's the first thought that pops up when we're trying to pay attention to the breath? Be curious about that thought. Where does it sit in your body if it brings up an emotion? And then watch that thought go as you come back to your breath. Noticing your chest, the air. There's discomfort in your body. Remember, it will change soon. We'll try and stay just a little longer. And then we'll take a deep breath in. Long breath out. And release energetically, physically from the pose. It might mean moving arms, spreading out the feet, lengthening them. And then we will come into a seated cat-cow. That could be with crossed legs or it can be with open legs. But either way, we find the knees or the legs with the hands. And then we inhale to lift the chest to come up, come into a little back bend. And then on the out breath, chin towards chest, round the spine, and get that lovely movement. You can straighten the arms here, it helps. And one more. Inhaling to lift the chest up. Exhale to bring the chin down. And then coming back to center, we're going to come onto hands and knees, but we won't be there for a huge amount of time, just to do some warming up. So once you get here and feel the mat underneath your hands and your knees, we'll walk the hands out a little further, keeping the hips above the knees, and we'll bring the chest and head down into puppy pose. Your head may not make it. You could always put a block underneath there, but we want to keep the elbows lifted here as well to get that extra stretch. If you would like to get a deeper movement, you can come up onto your fingertips here and then push the earth away from you and noticing how deeper that goes into the shoulders and down the arms. And then we'll gently release, bring the elbows down to the mat, bring the palms up, touching as you bring them over the top of your head in like a reverse prayer pose. And then making some adjustments with your elbows that allow your chest to move down towards the mat, opening up the chest space, stretching out the triceps, and getting ready for some of these chaturangas that we'll do in our sun salutations in a moment. And then we'll bring the hands down to the mat, walk them back, and our last warm-up pose is reaching the right arm up and then threading the needle. So bringing it down in between the wrist and the knee, sending it all the way out to the side of the mat as we bend the left elbow, bringing the shoulder down. And then left arm can be on hip or extend up towards the ceiling to come into the full version. If you find that you're not getting a good enough stretch through your shoulders, you can thread it through more just to open up that back space. If you'd like an extra little opening too, that top hand can bend and drop back to the opposite hip and then bring that shoulder up towards the sky. Just see how that feels. Yeah. And then we'll move to the other side. Gently lifting yourself up to come back up to tabletop, readjusting if you need to, and then left arm lift, and then thread through, taking your time to get to your version of this pose. Top arm on your hip, or maybe extend it up, or dropping it down to the other side and opening up that shoulder. Can be a really good twist for the back. So take your time, but adjust if it's too much. And then we'll gently come out of that one to come back into tabletop. And then curling the toes up at the back, lifting the seat bones up higher for downward facing dog. Spread those fingers out, push the weight back, reach those seat bones high, and then without losing the height of the seat bones, we work towards dropping the heels down. Especially if you're tight, like I am this morning, they won't necessarily make it. And then we drop one leg down or bending the other to come into walking the dog, using your breath and taking your time. And then we'll gently walk our feet up towards our hands. Nice and wide feet as we inhale to reach the arms up, all the way up to the sky, ceiling, and then hands down to heart space. So we're going to start our sun salutations this morning. So these are sun salutation B. They are probably the toughest ones, are the ones with the added chair pose in between as well. And then I'm going to teach it as a ladder flow this morning, which means that we'll do just the normal sun salutation B. And then each round I add an extra pose. And then we keep going until the end, and then we repeat the whole lot. And that kind of ends up being our session. Remember to take the variations that suit and to have a rest if you would like. Okay. So inhale the arms to come all the way up to the ceiling to start with, and then we come down to chair pose. So bending the knees, seat bones go back, bring ourselves down into this seated position, and then we bring the hands down towards the mat for a full fold, lifting the seat bones up now. You can keep the knees bent as much as they need to touch the ground, or you could always have blocks here as well. And then we slide the hands up to the knees as we lift into a half fold, but we still want to keep the back straight. The chest lifts a little here so that we can keep that back nice and straight. And then on the out breath, hands come down to the mat. We send the feet back for chaturanga. You can either have them out in full plank or drop straight away to the knees. As you breathe out, bending the elbows behind you to come down, child's pose for you, Carly, that you're already doing. And then inhaling to come up to cobra as we squeeze the glute muscles in, reach that chest and head up. And then out breath for downward facing dog, curling the toes up, reaching the seat bones up. I like to walk my feet in here for my downward dog. And then we spend a little moment stretching out those legs. This is our rest pose in between the others. And we'll start with the left side. Left leg lifts, coming up towards the ceiling. Bend that knee and then round the spine, maybe coming up onto your fingertips to bring that foot through to the front of the mat. Flatten the back foot on an angle down and inhale to reach up into our warrior one. So that's our first one. So this is that's the only pose that's in the classic sun salutation B. Then we bring our hands down to the mat, send the front foot back for chaturanga again, or knee plank. As you breathe out to come down, inhale to come up to cobra. Exhale for downward facing dog. Using those glute muscles and core to bring you up so we don't get a sore lower back. And then sending those heels down one at a time. Right leg lift, bending the knee, pulling it through to the front, flattening the back leg, grounding your feet as we come up to our warrior one, palms facing in as we reach up. And then on the out breath, hands come back down, send the front foot back, knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga to come down. Inhale for cobra. Exhale for downward dog. Walking the feet in, spending a breath or two here. And then we step, walk, or jump by bending the knees. Come up to a half fold. Full fold with an out breath. And we come out with a chair pose. Bending the knees, sending the seat bones down, arms come out in front, palms facing in. Really squeeze to lift up towards the top, and then hands down to heart space. One round, sun salutation B. We'll add a pose in as we go. How are we feeling? Warm? I might put the aircon on now, actually, as I guide you into the next one. Feel free to do the same at home. So let's take a nice deep breath in as we lift those arms up high to come into round two. Exhale to come down into chair pose with palms facing in, sending seat bones down. And then continue bending to come into a full fold, hands to the mat, seat bones up high. And then slide up to halfway into a half fold. Exhale to bring hands down to the mat as we send the feet back for chaturanga. Breathing out to come all the way down, keeping those elbows close. Inhale to lift the chest up for cobra. Exhale for downward facing dog, walking the feet in. And spending a little moment here. For lifting, we'll start right leg this time. Right leg lifts. Comes through to the front. Flatten the back foot. Warrior one. Now, instead of our classic warrior two that we move straight into, we're going to come down to extended side angle. So we open up, but the right forearm comes down to the right leg, and the left arm can either be on hip, reach up, or come over the top of the body as well. Now notice if you're putting weight down on this leg and you're having a nice chill here, see if you can release that hand so it gently, softly lands on that part of your leg. And then hands down to the mat. Send the front foot back for chaturanga. Breathing out to come down. Inhale to come up, either cobra or upward dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. And taking a moment here. Definitely feeling that warmth coming through. Left leg lift through to the front. Flatten the back foot. Warrior one. Open up to extended angle. Hips open, shoulders open. Bringing that top arm up and over, but making sure we're lightly touching the leg at the front. And then both hands down to the ground. Front foot back. Chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. Inhale for cobra. Exhale for downward facing dog. And then step, walk, or jump through to the front for a half fold. Full fold. Chair to come out. Hands to heart space. Without skipping a beat, inhaling arms to come up. Chair pose to come down. Then continue down to a full fold before inhaling to come up to a half. Exhale for chaturanga as the hands come down to the ground. We send the feet back, hold strong in the body before bending the elbows to come down. Inhale up for cobra. Exhale for downward dog. Oh, those hands are a little closer under your shoulders when you do cobra next time. Yeah. Oh, does it? Okay, we can look at that another time. And then we'll start left side this time. Left leg lift. Pull through to the front for warrior one. Exhale to side angle. Choosing where you want that arm, opening those shoulders up. And then inhale to triangle. So straightening that front leg now. Left arm might extend further down while that right arm stays up. Opening those shoulders up, maybe looking towards the ceiling, if that feels doable. And then both hands down to the mat. We bend that front knee. Chaturanga, it's nice and strong. Out breath to come down. Inhale for cobra. Exhale for downward facing dog. And taking a moment. Right leg lift through to the front. Warrior one to come up. Extended side angle. Triangle. Both hands down to the mat, bending into that front leg, sending the front one back. Chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. And then downward facing dog on that out breath, taking your time to get there. See how it feels to walk your feet in here, Melina, to have a little, yep, that looks good. And then step, walk or jump through to the front. Half fold. Full fold. Chair to come out. Hands to heart space. And now for the next one, we're adding in a half moon. So if you would like a block at the front of your mat, if you have something else at home, guys, like even just your couch or something too, or a book, or give it a go to the ground is the other option. How are we feeling? The shoulders? Good? Yeah. All right, well, let's do another round. Inhale the arms to come up. Chair pose to come down. All the way down to the full fold as we lift the seat bones up. Inhale for half. Exhale for chaturanga. Hands to the mat. Feet out. Out breath, bending those elbows to come down. Inhale up for cobra. Downward facing dog. And taking a moment here. Left leg lift through to the front. Chin up for our warrior one. Down into extended side angle. Opening up that whole body there as you reach the top arm up and over. Check on that weight on that leg. Trikonasana as we straighten the leg and bring the left arm down. Looking up towards the top one if you can. And then we're going to come into half moon. So bending into that left leg, bringing the top hand down. As we push off the back, you might find your block or find the ground with your hand. And we push up, open up the hips, open up the hand, dot your foot down when you need to. And if you feel like you can look up towards your hand ceiling as well. That's the tricky one. I can see you guys on the screen there looking awesome. And then drop the back foot down, hands to the ground, chaturanga. So breathe out to come down. Inhale to come up. Now remember with these chaturangas, if you're getting tired now, fatigued, then come down into a knees, chest, chin instead. The downward facing dog here, reaching seat bones up. Especially if we start to get slack in our downward dog. And then right leg lift through to the front. Warrior one. Extended side angle. Triangle. Half moon. Bending into that front one. Grabbing hold of the block. Pushing up into the pose. And then dropping the back foot down. Hands to the ground. Front foot back. Chaturanga. Inhale up for cobra. Downward facing dog. Step, walk or jump through to the front. Half fold. Full fold. Chair. Into heart swing. 2 more rounds to go. We'll move through the first few quickly, and then I'll just spend the extra long time on the new pose. Okay, remember to take a break if you need to. Inhale to lift arms up. Exhale for chair. Hands to the ground. Full fold. Half fold. Chaturanga. Cobra. Downward dog. Collect your moment here. Right leg lift. Through to the front. Warrior one. Extended side angle. Trikonasana. Half moon. And we land the foot out long behind. Turn the toes towards the front. And we come into a forward fold here. Hands behind the ears. So as you come down, you get a core movement as you come down. And then nice long back, keeping the core activated as you inhale to lift up. So we go down and up for this pose. And then turn towards the front. Hands come to the mat. Chaturanga. Cobra. Downward facing dog. Left side now. Inhaling to lift. Foot to the front. Warrior one. Bending into that front leg. Extended side angle. Triangle. Half moon. Wide leg forward fold. Nice big step. Toes to the front. Hands behind ears. Coming all the way down. As far as your body allows, then activate core to lift yourself back up to the top, using those legs. Turn to the front, hands down to the mat. Send the foot back, chaturanga. Inhale for cobra. Maybe it's about now that it feels tough, wondering when the session is going to finish. Remembering that whether it's good or whether it's bad, it will change soon. Step, jump, skip through to the front. Half fold. Full fold. Chair to come out. Then hands to heart space. The last round, while I put the air conditioning down a little bit lower, I don't think it's working. Inhale, arms to come up. Exhale, down for chair. Continue all the way down for a full fold. Half fold. Chaturanga. Breathing out to allow yourself to come down. Inhaling up to cobra. Exhale for downward facing dog. Right leg lift. Through to the front. Warrior one. Nice and strong. Extended side angle. Triangle. Half moon. Wide leg forward fold. Turning those toes to the front, hands behind ears as you bring yourself down. And then use the breath to bring yourself back up. Activate the core. That looks really strong, Mel. And then towards the front, hands down, send front foot back. Chaturanga. Inhale up for cobra. Downward facing dog as we come up to our last round for this morning. Left leg lift, pulling it through to the front in a strong warrior one, reaching those arms up. Feel the bend and strength in that front leg. As we open up to our extended side angle. Even in fatigue, can we release that arm? Triangle pose as we straighten that front leg, looking up towards the ceiling. Coming into half moon, pushing off the back, feeling strong in that left leg as we work towards opening up the hips, reaching the top arm up. Sending that leg long for a wide leg forward fold, hands behind ears. Out breath, nice and long body to come down. Inhale to activate the core to come all the way up. And our last flow as we bring the hands down towards the front of the mat. Send the front foot back. Knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga to come down. Cobra to lift. Exhale for downward facing dog. And then step, walk, or jump. Chair, oh, sorry, half fold, getting it wrong. Half fold, full fold, chair to come out, bending the knees, feet bones down, reaching all the way up. Hands to heart space. And to sit with your body for a moment, noticing where you feel the activation. Shoulders, arms, glutes, core, breath. Before then, inhaling the arms to come back up again. Exhaling to come down to a ragdoll pose where we drop the hands down, but then grab hold of the elbows or slide towards the wrists, finding a comfortable spot. You can always have wider feet here if that feels more comfortable. And it's called ragdoll because we let the top of the body go and then rock from side to side, giving a nice stretch through the legs, as well as that bit of relaxation through the top half. And then we're going to make our way down to the ground by hands first, then knees, and then rolling over onto the back where we'll do a nice supine twist to finish. So we'll have nice long arms, bringing the knees up. They can either be wide or to the chest. But then on an out breath, allow both of them to make it to one side, as high as you feel comfortable to. We do want to get the stretch across the chest with all the chaturangas today. So making sure that they're out long. You might even like to bend the elbows with your palms facing up and maybe turn your head to that opposite side of your knees. And then nice deep breath in here. Long, slow out breath out as you start to feel your body cool down. You can notice where this stretch is supporting you. Remember to make any adjustments for more comfort. And then we can inhale to lift the knees up to the top. You might like to squeeze them in between, maybe do some side to sides with the knees pulled in, getting the lower back massage. And then when you're ready, rolling over to the other side, allowing both knees to fall to the side, keeping the arms open. If you're not getting the stretch, remember to bend the elbows and see how that feels and make any adjustments. As you lay here, considering whether you're in the hard moment or the nice one, and remembering that whether it's good or whether it's bad, it will change soon. So spending a moment appreciating the stretch, being grateful for the moment of stillness, time and space to watch your mind without judgment, and give yourself that nurturement that you deserve this morning. And then in this case, we move out of this one and come into an even nicer pose with Shavasana. So in Vinyasa, I don't often bring out all the props, but if you know that you'd like an extra prop, especially if you want to sit more like upright or something too, yeah. It also will get cold if you're in the studio too. So if you want to put your jumpers or socks on now as we get ready, I'll bring the eye pillows around. If you have an eye pillow or something lovely at home too, feel free to pop that one on. No worries. And this is the pose we like to never end. Okay. And we take nice, big, deep breaths in with long, slow release breaths out. So allowing your entire body to let go and relax. And then we do a little body scan in Vinyasa where we just pay attention to each part, noticing them and letting them relax even further. Toes, feet, ankles. Out breath to relax. Lower legs, upper legs. Out breath to feel heavy. Hips, glutes, pelvic floor. Exhale to release. Abdomen, lower back, organs in between. Let go. Up to the chest and upper back. Watch the inhale as it comes in. And on the out breath, allow all the air to leave as you sink down into the mat. Notice the shoulders down to the fingertips. Allow them to relax on an out breath. Notice the face, the jaw, the eyebrows, forehead, temples. Allowing each to let go. And then finally, the entire body. Letting it rest after the work that it's done this morning as a reward, but also to show the contrast. Even when things are hard, and sometimes we feel like we're fatigued and we can't get through, it's not long until that phase changes and we're on to a different one. It could be a harder one, it could be an easy one, but a different one all the same. So when it's tough, we remind ourselves that it will change. And when it's good, we also remind ourselves that it will change and sit with gratefulness. You can just start to take a nice deep breath in. The long, slow release breath out. As you start to wiggle fingers and toes. Maybe move some of the larger parts of the body, like your legs and arms. You might like to stay still for a moment or roll over onto one side. And gently make your way up to sitting. Do what feels nice in your body. Could be wiggles, the shoulders, neck rolls, twists, stillness, especially if you know your day is about to get hectic. It's nice to enjoy that for an extra moment. And we'll finish with one long om. Feel free to join or just listen. Hands on legs or maybe to heart space, whatever feels nice for you. Deep breath in. Inhale the arms to come all the way. Exhale down to heart space. May be kind to yourself and others. Thanks so much, guys.